Watch this until the end, because this isn't just another Friday. And the calendar didn't just land on July 4th by chance. Something in heaven has been scheduled. And the Spirit of God is whispering that this day will not unfold like the rest. What's coming this Friday will not just surprise you, it will shake your spirit. Because what you thought was just another day has been marked by heaven for divine reversal, prophetic confirmation, and public demonstration. The kind of moment where silence breaks, where long-standing prayers snap open like scrolls, and where the weight you've carried quietly is suddenly lifted without warning. And while others may see fireworks and celebration, God is saying, I'm about to release something supernatural in your direction that even you didn't think would happen this soon. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things, which thou knowest not. Jeremiah 3:3, Banding 3. And this Friday is when the answer shows up, not the one you predicted, but the one your soul has been aching for in the secret places. And this is why the warfare around your thoughts has increased, why you've been sensing movement in your spirit but couldn't define it, why your heart has been heavy without a clear reason. It's because something is shifting, something you haven't seen yet but have already started feeling. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. Isaiah 65, Banding 24. And this Friday will feel like that moment. The thing you didn't even finish praying for will knock on your door, and the opportunity you had given up on will suddenly resurface with clarity, because God is not just answering prayer, He is interrupting patterns, and the ones that have kept you stuck, confused, and repeating the same cycles are being broken this Friday. Expect interruptions that don't look like miracles, but are the cancelled plans that save you from wrong alignment. The closed door that reroutes you to the correct room, the no that protects you from distraction. Because this Friday is not for convenience, it is for correction and coronation. The moment where God adjusts what needed to shift and then crowns you with visibility, clarity, and authority you didn't know was coming. And it will shock you, not because it's dramatic, but because it's precise, so accurate that you'll have no choice but to say, this was God, and He's been preparing you for it. Even when you didn't feel ready, every lonely night, every frustrating season, every moment you chose faith over escape, it all built this moment. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2 Banding 3, and July 4th is that appointed time. And when it comes, don't be surprised when everything shifts. Your appetite, your surroundings, your focus, your emotions, because when God moves suddenly, He moves everything. And this Friday will prove it. And you'll look back and realize that the pressure had a purpose, that the warfare was a prophecy, and that the wait was never a punishment. It was preparation for the kind of shift that doesn't whisper, it thunders. So stay sensitive, stay expectant, and don't write Friday off as just another day, because when you wake up that morning, heaven will already be in motion, and before the day ends, you'll know without question. This wasn't coincidence, this was my confirmation. This Friday, July 4th, will not just shift your situation, it will expose your opposition. And the reason it will shock you is not because of what you will lose, but because of what you will finally see clearly for so long. You've been praying for open doors, for favor, for forward movement, and you've wondered why your spirit felt heavy even when you were doing everything right. You've questioned why your peace felt interrupted, why your dreams kept circling back to old wounds, why certain relationships kept hitting the same emotional ceiling. And God is saying, it's because something has been hidden that I'm about to reveal, not to shame you, but to free you, because what's been holding you back hasn't just been resistance, it's been disguise. And this Friday, I'm removing the veil, for there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be brought to light. Luke 8:17. And what comes to light this Friday will shake you, not because it's dangerous, but because you finally realize how long it's been stealing your focus, draining your hope, and sabotaging your next level. And this exposure is part of God's love, because before He launches you into destiny, He always clears the air. And if you've been feeling like something is off but couldn't explain it, if you've had dreams that felt like warnings, if your discernment has been tugging at people, spaces, or situations that used to feel safe, trust that it's not paranoia, it's prophetic insight. And this Friday, that insight becomes confirmation. You'll know who was sent and who was planted. You'll see who was praying for you and who was preying on you. You'll understand why certain doors never opened and why others are about to swing wide. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah and Poplatiga banding Simblenblas. And this is the moment of perception. Unlocked when the fog lifts, when the spiritual pressure breaks, when the emotions you couldn't name finally make sense. And it won't just be people, it will be old patterns, old thinking, spiritual agreements you didn't even realize you had made with fear, rejection, trauma, pride, or scarcity. God says, I'm not just cleaning your schedule, I'm cleansing your soul. And Friday is the day that shift begins. The kind of exposure that doesn't just open your eyes, it opens your future. And after this Friday, things will not feel the same, not because you're in danger, but because you're finally in alignment. And God is going to use that clarity to accelerate everything that's been pending. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. And the stillness coming this Friday won't be the absence of motion. It will be the presence of divine security, the kind of peace that settles your mind, even while God is uprooting what no longer belongs in your life. And when you feel that sudden distance, don't chase what's being removed. Bless it and let it go, because the freedom you've been praying for is attached to the things you're willing to release. And July 4th is not just independence in the natural. It's about to become your spiritual emancipation, not from people, but from the chains that followed you into rooms you should have been free in. And this time, you won't just notice the chains, you'll break them. And when that happens, you'll finally walk into what God prepared without the weight that kept trying to keep you out. Because this Friday is not random, it's surgical, and it's going to leave you lighter, clearer, bolder, and finally aligned with what your spirit always knew was coming. This Friday, July 4th, will not just be a day, it will be a divine momentum shift. And the reason it will shock you is because everything that felt slow, blocked, or stagnant is about to move so quickly, so loudly, so unmistakably, that you'll feel like the heavens just tore open. You'll look back and say, how did this happen in one day? But that's the very nature of acceleration by God's hand. It doesn't follow the calendar. It doesn't require man's permission. And it doesn't need a build-up. It only needs divine release. And the Lord is declaring over you now, this Friday will be a day of sudden divine release. And what you thought was going to take months will be done in moments. Not because you're rushing, but because heaven has now synchronized with your surrender. I am the Lord. In its time, I will do it swiftly. Isaiah 62:22. And this is the time you've been faithful, quiet, hidden, misunderstood. You've carried promises that made your heart ache and kept your hope alive, even when it didn't make sense. And now everything is catching up. What your heart saw in the spirit, but your life never mirrored, is about to finally match. And the pressure that you've been under lately, that heaviness that sat on your chest, that sense that something is coming, that was your spirit detecting prophetic motion before your mind could explain it. And this Friday, it will all unfold. Things that were delayed by demonic interference will be released. Things that were held up in legal systems will be signed. Conversations that were stalled will suddenly resume. Emails that were never answered will be replied to with favor. And the people you were supposed to meet will find their way to you without your striving. Because this isn't about luck. This is divine orchestration. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? Isaiah 43, banding 19. And now you'll know it, you'll feel it. You'll watch it happen in real time. The relationship, the relocation, the release of finances, the sudden inner clarity that lets you finally say yes without fear, and all of it will carry the same divine signature. Only God could have done this. And don't be afraid when the acceleration feels unfamiliar. It's not chaos, it's kingdom momentum. It's the kind of speed that doesn't drain you. It energizes you. It doesn't scatter you. It focuses you. It doesn't inflate your ego. It reminds you how close God has been the whole time. And this Friday, the momentum that hits your life will be prophetic fulfillment in motion. The reaping of things you sowed in silence, and the reaper will overtake the sower. Amos 9:13, which means before you even finish one act of obedience, another blessing will already be forming. You'll be overtaken by answered prayers, and not just one, it'll be wave after wave. And when people ask what happened, you won't be able to fully explain it because you didn't do this. You just kept obeying when it didn't make sense. And now God is honoring your endurance with evidence. Friday will be the day when delay gets embarrassed, when closed doors are reversed, and when your name is brought up in rooms you didn't even know existed. And it will all come without force, because what's yours can no longer be withheld. And heaven is saying, you've waited, now watch. If the days leading up to this Friday have felt unusually heavy, emotionally thick, spiritually intense, mentally exhausting, it's because the enemy could smell what you couldn't see and tried everything to distract you before your delivery. And even though you've been functioning, posting, praying, surviving, you've felt something deeper, like a cloud sitting on your chest, like something was shifting but not yet visible. And God is saying today that heaviness wasn't random, it was prophetic pressure. And Friday is going to show you why. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. 2 Corinthians 4:17. And this Friday will reveal that weight of glory, because you didn't go through this for nothing. The enemy tried to wear you out, so you'd forfeit the promise before it fully formed. He sent confusion to cloud your discernment, emotional fatigue to make you quit, isolation to make you believe no one cared, and delay to make you think maybe God had changed his mind. But this Friday will shock you, because it will prove once and for all that God was never silent. He was setting you up for a public demonstration, and that's why the resistance had to increase. Because breakthrough this big doesn't come without birth pains. And what you've been experiencing wasn't punishment, it was spiritual labor, groaning without language, praying with no words, crying for no reason. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groans that words cannot express. Romans 8:26. And those groans have reached heaven. And this Friday will be the sound of answer and release, not just in what happens externally, but in what happens in you. Your mind will feel clearer, your heart will feel lighter, your energy will return, and you'll feel a sudden joy that doesn't even match your circumstances, because this is what it feels like when God lifts the weight that wasn't yours to carry. And when it happens, you'll remember that nothing was wasted, the betrayals that crushed you, the delays that broke your heart, the private nights you begged God to just do something. He heard you, and this Friday will be the moment you realize He wasn't ignoring you. He was preserving you for the exact moment when everything would come into view. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. You stretch out your hand, and your right hand delivers me. Psalm 138 banding 7. And this is the deliverance, not just from circumstances, but from the lie that God was done with you, because what's coming this Friday is going to redeem the years that looked like nothing was happening, and people who watched you walk through the fire will have no choice but to admit they were never being punished, they were being prepared, and this time the glory won't just restore what you lost, it will leave you speechless, because it will be too fast, too specific, too undeniable, and it will remind you that the pressure was always proof of how close the release truly was. And now, the veil is thinning, the grip of fear is breaking, and your posture is shifting from surviving to receiving, because Friday is not just the end of pain, it's the beginning of your glory season. What's going to shock you this Friday, July 4th, isn't just what happens around you, it's the sudden clarity that's about to flood into your spirit. The divine instructions that are going to make everything that felt blurry suddenly make sense. The kind of clarity that makes your past pain feel worth it and your future path feel obvious. Because this Friday isn't just about breakthrough, it's about alignment. It's about doors that only open when your ears are tuned to heaven, and your heart is free from the distractions that once delayed you. And God is saying today, I'm about to give you the next steps, not the full map, but the divine move that unlocks everything else. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, this is the way. Walk in it. Isaiah 30 bending 21. And this Friday, that voice will be louder than your doubt, more precise than your emotions, more consistent than your feelings, because what's coming isn't vague, it's strategic, and God is aligning the right people, the right places, the right moments to meet you exactly where your obedience intersects with your hunger. And that's why you've been feeling tension, because the wrong alignments are crumbling and the right ones are forming. People are being shifted in and out of your life, not by accident, but by appointment. And God says, don't mourn who left if their presence was blocking your clarity. This Friday, you'll finally see that what felt like loss was actually divine subtraction to make room for prophetic addition. And don't be shocked when you meet someone this weekend who feels like confirmation, when an old door reopens with new intention, when you hear a message that speaks so precisely to your secret prayer that it makes you cry. It's not coincidence, it's coordination from heaven, because this is the season of intentional movement, and the glory coming over your life requires the right rooms, the right ears, and the right covering. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Psalm 37 banding 23. And now your steps are being ordered toward peace, partnership, and prophetic purpose. And what God is aligning you with now is not just opportunity, it's assignment. People who carry pieces of your calling, spaces that activate dormant gifts, doors that don't drain you but demand your greatness. And this Friday will be the beginning of that divine magnetic pull, where what belongs to you begins to find you, and it won't be forced, it'll feel natural. peaceful, holy, the kind of yes that doesn't need begging, the kind of connection that doesn't feel competitive, the kind of strategy that comes through stillness. Not stress. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. And that stillness will meet you this Friday like a prophetic wave. And when it comes, don't rush, listen, because the instruction will be clear and the alignment will be confirmed. And when it happens, you'll know this truth deep in your soul. I wasn't waiting for nothing. I was waiting for the exact people, the exact plan, the exact moment, and this is it. What's going to truly shock you this Friday isn't just the blessings that show up in your life, it's the peace that shows up in your soul. Because what God is doing now is deeper than miracles, deeper than opportunities, deeper than external evidence. He's going into the part of you that has been quietly breaking, silently aching, hidden behind smiles and strength and routines. And he's saying, this Friday, I'm healing what no one knows is hurting. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147 banding 3. And this time, the healing won't be shallow. It will be full, real, deep. The kind that lifts the silent grief you've carried for years. The kind that makes your breathing slower and your nights softer. The kind that removes the emotional numbness you called coping, because God knows that while you've been pushing forward, something inside you has still been bleeding from the disappointment that you never processed, the betrayals you forgave but never understood, the moments you prayed and nothing happened and you had to make peace with silence. And this Friday, God is saying, I was never ignoring you. I was saving this moment for a sacred healing that doesn't just touch your symptoms. It goes after your scars, and when it happens, you'll feel it, not in fireworks, but in the quiet safety of knowing that your soul is finally being held, your heart is finally being tended to, and your tears, yes, even the ones no one saw, are finally being counted by heaven. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. Psalm 56, banding 8. And this Friday, those tears are going to turn into testimonies, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped running, and in that stillness, God will meet you with healing that doesn't need an explanation. It just brings relief. And don't be surprised if emotions rise unexpectedly. If you cry during prayer, if you feel a strange weight lift from your chest, if your sleep suddenly feels deeper, it's not random, it's a spiritual surgery happening in silence. And you won't even realize how broken you've been until the healing hits, until joy feels natural again, until trust comes back, until you stop waiting for the next disappointment. Because this time, you're not being set up for heartbreak. You're being healed to hope again. And God is saying, I'm not letting you walk into this next season half live, half healed, half believing. This time, you're going in whole, because I'm restoring not just what happened, but how you saw yourself because of it. And this is your moment. Not a flash of motivation, a divine reset of how you feel, how you believe, how you love, and how you dream. And it starts this Friday, when the pain finally stops whispering and peace takes its place. And when that happens, you'll know the real miracle wasn't what changed around me, it's what changed in me. This Friday, July 4th, will shock you, not just because of what happens, but because of what it will confirm, that every tear, every delay, every silent season, every night you almost gave up, was never in vain. And this Friday will prove it in a way that no sermon could. Because what's coming isn't just a blessing, it's a divine vindication of your obedience, your purity, your faithfulness in a wilderness season where no one clapped for you, no one noticed you, and yet you kept showing up, kept forgiving, kept fasting, kept sowing, kept believing. And God says, "This is the moment where I answer. In public, what you endured in private, but you, when you pray, go into your room. And your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you openly." Matthew 6:26. And this Friday is that open reward, not for perfection, but for surrender, not because you had all the answers, but because you kept trusting the one who did. And the shock won't just be in what he does, it'll be in how quickly he does it, how perfectly it aligns, how personally it reaches you, because God isn't giving you a generic miracle, he's giving you a custom one. The kind that proves he was listening the whole time, the kind that answers the prayer you gave up repeating, the dream you stopped talking about, the part of your heart you buried because it hurt too much to hope again. And this Friday, he's resurrecting it, not with hype, but with holiness, because this shift is sacred. It's not for clout or noise, it's to confirm that heaven has always had its eyes on you, and when it comes, you won't need to announce it. The glory will speak for itself. The glow in your face, the peace in your eyes, the sudden open doors, the timing so precise it brings tears. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamed. Our mouths were filled with laughter, our tongues with songs of joy. Psalm 126, 1-2. And your laughter is coming back, not just a moment of happiness, but a lifestyle of joy that flows from wholeness, not performance. And don't be surprised when what you thought would take years is resolved in days, when people who overlooked you come back with apologies, when the opportunity you forgot about suddenly reappears with your name on it, because this is what happens when God remembers in public what you survived in private. This Friday will begin something irreversible, something undeniable, something unstoppable, not just a breakthrough, but a banner. You have given a banner to those who fear you, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Psalm 60, banding in part, and the truth is this: you didn't break. You bent, you prayed, you healed, you trusted, and now the harvest is coming. So don't shrink, don't doubt it, don't delay it. This Friday is not just an answer, it's the beginning of your confirmation season, where every lie the enemy whispered about your future is buried under the weight of your testimony, and you'll finally say, "Now I see why I had to wait. It was never a delay. It was a setup for glory." When the dust settles after this Friday, when the silence returns and the emotions still, when you finally sit alone in that quiet room with nothing left but the weight of what just happened, you will realize that this was not just a miracle. It was a divine marker in time. July 4th, 2025 will not just be remembered for what you received, but for what you never went back to, because this was the day heaven closed chapters with no return, healed wounds that can't reopen, broke patterns that can't repeat, and lifted you into a place in the spirit that you'll never fall from again. And the Lord says, this wasn't a moment, this was a pivot. The kind where even if nothing else ever happened again, what shifted today would be enough to carry you for years. And even now, you can feel it, that deep awareness that something sacred took place, something irreversible, something holy, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. Isaiah 40, banding 5. And that's what this Friday was. The unveiling of glory, not glory that shows off wealth or status, but the glory of survival, of endurance, of staying faithful in secret when everything in you wanted to quit. And now the reward is not just external, it's internal. Peace you can't explain, courage that doesn't shake, focus that doesn't falter, a posture of grace that doesn't care about applause, and now As you step into the after of the miracle, you'll notice the small things have changed. You'll sleep deeper, wake up lighter, dream more vividly, move more boldly, because Friday did something eternal, something psychological, something generational. It untied the cords of fear that bound your family for decades. It lifted the shame that made you second-guess your worth. It cut soul ties that limited your voice. It silenced spiritual chatter that clouded your direction. It shall come to pass in that day that his burden shall be taken off your shoulder, and his yoke from your neck, and the yoke shall be destroyed because of the anointing. Isaiah Gem 10 lewat 27 menit. And this Friday was that day, the day the yoke broke, and not by effort but by presence, the day you didn't have to fight to be seen because God highlighted you, and now you're in that sacred after moment where the world hasn't caught up yet, but your spirit already knows. This was it, the shift, the turn, the new thing, and now your assignment is to walk in it, unapologetically and unstoppably. No more playing small to protect people's egos, no more dimming your light to make others comfortable, no more questioning if you heard God correctly. You did, and this Friday confirmed it. So walk in the release, rest in the grace, and remember, what shocked you was sent to shape you, and it did.